Hello and thanks for joining us on this Thursday. I'm Mackailyn Johnson. Let's take a look at some of the stories we're bringing you today. Right now, Little Rock police are investigating the city's 68th homicide of the year. What we know about the investigation in 2 minutes. And your pet and Halloween. Coming up, we verify the candy that could put your furry friend in the most danger. Plus, it looks like Netflix is making good on their plan to make you pay for sharing your Netflix account with friends and family. When to expect the charges just ahead. But first, we're here with meteorologist Corrales Ortiz. I feel like yesterday and the day before that, people were like, I'm going to stay in. It's a little cold.
Yeah, just a little bit. Especially our morning's been very frigid, unseasonably cold, but beautiful nonetheless weather-wise. We are actually a lot warmer today compared to yesterday, and we're going to continue this warming trend. Let's take a look at those current temperatures right now. We're sitting many locations already well into the 60s this afternoon, upper 60s already to our south. So the good news there, look at this. 10 to 20 degrees warmer at this point compared to yesterday afternoon in many locations, especially in northwest Arkansas. We're expected to see highs in the 70s this afternoon, around 74 for us here in the metro. Overall pleasant and seasonable day in store for us. Here's what to know in the forecast. We do have a warm up on the way. Drought conditions will persist, but we do have a chance for rain next week. I'll let you know if that's going to be enough to really make a difference in the forecast coming up in minutes.
Thanks, Corrales. And new today at noon, Little Rock now reporting its 68th homicide of 2022. This morning at 8:30, police found a man dead on the 3500 block of Bryant Street, which is in southwest Little Rock between Boyle Park and South University. Right now, the victim is not being identified. There is also no word on any suspects. A day after vowing to stay in power, British Prime Minister Liz Truss has resigned. Her tumultuous 6-week term in office was marked by policies that rocked the financial markets and led to outrage among lawmakers, including those within her own party. Ian Lee reports from London.
Given the situation, I cannot deliver the mandate on which I was elected by the Conservative Party.
Britain's Prime Minister Liz Truss, who took over from Boris Johnson in early September, announced she is leaving, and in doing so becomes the shortest-serving Prime Minister in British history.
I have spoken to His Majesty the King to notify him that I am resigning as leader of the Conservative Party.
She will be remembered as the last Prime Minister to ever meet the Queen. But the Conservative leader will also be remembered for a massively criticized budget of tax and spending cuts that spooked the markets and sent the pound plunging, forcing Truss to fire her finance minister and reverse those cuts.
What a mess. And this is not just a soap opera at the top of the Tory party. It's doing huge damage to our economy and to the reputation of our country.
Truss apologized, but it wasn't enough, with polls showing she had a 10% approval rating.
It makes you wonder whether she should vote Conservative again. But I'm delighted to hear that she's finally gone.
Truss said the Conservative Party will hold a leadership election within the next week and that she will remain in office until a successor is chosen. Ian Lee, CBS News, London.
The White House said the United States will continue its close relationship with Britain and the next British Prime Minister. THV 11 is your election central. Before early voting gets underway next week, the candidates in the state's top races continue to make their case to voters. This afternoon, congressional candidates for districts 1 and 2 faced off in a debate on Arkansas PBS. You can watch the full debate between incumbent French Hill and challengers Quintessa Hathaway and Michael White right now on the THV 11 YouTube page. You can also expect highlights tonight at 5 and 6. Now, we are also closely following the 2023 governor's race. Tomorrow, Republican Sarah Huckabee Sanders, Democrat Chris Jones, and Libertarian Ricky Dale Harrington Jr. will meet on the debate stage at 10 a.m. You can catch the debate on our live stream on THV 11 Plus and on YouTube. And later this evening on 6:30 Central, we explain issue 4 in the fight to legalize recreational marijuana in Arkansas. Remember, THV 11 is your election central. You can find information to help you vote on THV11.com. Just text the word vote to this number, 501-376-1111. We'll send you our brand new voter guide full of information about the major races, candidates, and the issues you will see on your ballot. Now turning to national news, President Biden campaigns for Democrats today in Pennsylvania, one of the few places where candidates want his support. The latest CBS News polling shows that control of the Senate remains a toss-up, and the race in Pennsylvania could decide it. Weijia Jiang is at the White House.
Families are hurting. You've heard me say it before, but I get it.
From gas prices to new jobs and abortion, this week President Biden is going all in on those issues. When asked Wednesday about his focus going into the election, he said there are multiple issues at play.
Just hoping to clarify for midterm voters, top domestic issue, inflation or abortion.
All important. Unlike you, there's no one thing.
Today, the president is heading to Pittsburgh to tout the billions of dollars he signed into law for rebuilding the nation's infrastructure. He will revisit the site of a massive bridge collapse, which he toured back in January on the day the disaster unfolded, with Pennsylvania Lieutenant Governor and Democratic U.S. Senate candidate John Fetterman. This evening, the two will meet again in Philadelphia for a fundraiser. Republican challenger Dr. Mehmet Oz wants Fetterman to stay linked to the president, too, blaming inflation on both of them.
On the issue of inflation, John Fetterman does not believe Joe Biden spent enough money.
Oz has also questioned his opponent's health after he suffered a stroke in May.
I genuinely hope that there was not a doctor in your life making fun of your circumstances.
Fetterman released a letter from his doctor Wednesday that says he is recovering well, with no work restrictions, but occasionally there are words he will miss due to lingering auditory issues.
Fetterman is one of the only Democrats fully embracing President Biden's support. In fact, this month, several high-profile candidates are holding events, but it's not President Biden who will be stumping by their side. It's former President Obama. Weijia Jiang, CBS News, the White House.
Now, in a ruling released Wednesday, a federal judge said former President Donald Trump signed legal documents challenging the results of the 2020 election that included voter fraud claims he knew to be false. The opinion ordered the release of emails between Trump and attorney John Eastman to the House committee investigating the January 6th Capitol attack. In New York City, a giant temporary shelter for migrants being bussed in from the southern border states opened on Wednesday. The shelter tents include cots for up to 500 people intended for adult single men, many from Venezuela, who have been arriving several times a week, predominantly from Texas. Are you prepared in the event of a major earthquake? Now, this isn't a question for people in California. Arkansans have a real risk of earthquake damage. And today, thousands of Arkansans took part in an earthquake drill, so they're ready when and if a big one hits. Hilda Booth with the Arkansas Division of Emergency Management tells us that within the next 50 years, our state has a 25 to 40% chance of seeing a quake with a magnitude of 6.0 or greater. She says these odds show that the bare minimum we can do is be prepared. The first thing Booth says to keep in mind is drop, cover, and hold on. This can help with falling debris if you're outside or just from things in your home. Also, having an in-depth safety plan will help out in case of an earthquake or really any disaster.
Before you have to drop, cover, and hold on, we'd like you to prepare to be on your own for a couple of weeks. And this is going to be helpful in a tornado, in any kind of a flooding incident, an ice storm or anything like that. If you've got your necessary water, some food, extra medications, eyeglasses, things like that that you might need, it's going to make a big difference on how you respond and recover.
Now, Booth advises to think big picture and prepare for the worst. While the drill time has passed, you can still register, do your own drill, and learn more about safety and preparation tips on shakeout.org. Happening today, a new mural is unveiled to honor the Arkansas woman known as the godmother of rock and roll.
Didn't it rain, children? Rain, oh yes.
Sister Rosetta Tharpe, the legendary singer who put movement to music and inspired the likes of Elvis and Little Richard. Muralist Jessica Jones just finished a mural of Tharpe off 6th Street in downtown Little Rock. A big dedication ceremony with live music began at 11. Now, taking your pets trick-or-treating, there's some candies they should avoid this Halloween. We'll break it down just ahead. But first, a quick weather check. Corrales?
No trick, just treats in the forecast. That means I have a treat for you guys, especially if you don't like these colder temperatures. We have a warm up on the horizon, along with the chance for some rain as well. More on that coming up.